Run it up, then run it back. Run it up, then run it back. Run it up, run it back. Run it up, then run it back.
Oh, happy New Year's Eve show. A holiday I'm sure we will all celebrate very, very high. Guys, how are we feeling today?
Pretty good. Pretty good. I enjoy
Michelle,
New Year's Eve. It's my son's birthday, so happy birthday to 6.
Hey, happy birthday.
Okay, yeah, yours. Yep. Oh, that's a big one. Big 5. Chandler,
Michelle,
you already
sound,
hungover?
You sound much better today.
Yes, I'm on my way back to the living, and I'm very grateful for that. Yay.
Well,
and you, how are you feeling?
Not great, but I'm a true professional, and I'm going to get through this hour-long great show that we do, Michelle.
This extravaganza that we have for you, all hoops, all the time. I'm proud of you, Chandler. We do have, we're going to start with a game last night. The Cleveland Cavaliers, like it or not, it's happening. They're for real. 7 straight win. They're 28-4. That's not right. That is so right. Dear God. Darius Garland had 25. Donovan Mitchell had 23. He had 15 of those in the third quarter. Steph, though, with 11 points, 4 of 14. We're going to start with the Warriors because we must. 33% against the Cavs. That is their worst field goal percentage at home under Steve Kerr. They also went 9 of 38 from 3. So all that stuff we used to say about the Warriors in 3, stop saying it. Worst shooting team in December. And that has led them going 4-9 in the month, Lou. I'll start with you. What is up with this Warriors offense?
For me, I think it's just personnel. I just don't think they have the guys to be who they're used to being offensively. You know, we're used to the Golden State Warriors being this offensive juggernaut with so many different weapons to go to, so many guys that love to shoot threes that fit their style of play. And I don't think that they just have the guys to do it. You know, early on in the season, Steve Kerr said this was the deepest team that he's ever had. I was the only person that pushed back on that. I didn't agree. You know, I thought he had a lot of talented guys that were there to do the dirty work. They were going to be energy guys. They were going to take up the slack there. Offensively, I didn't think that he had enough to be the team that they're used to being, especially with the system that he likes to play. You know, it's no secret they're a three-point shooting basketball team. That's what's won them championships, and that's the pedigree that they live and die by. So with that, I just don't feel like they have the guys in that system to play the style of basketball that's made them successful over the years.
Yeah, and look, this is one of the teams that kind of started this whole 3-point barrage, right? This kind of started the whole 3-point system with Steph and Clay, and now you bring in certain personnel, and it is not the same. It's not the same shooting, and it looks bad when they lose because they're still hoisting these threes. They're still taking early shot clock threes, but now it's just kind of a different personnel. And when like I said, when you don't make the shots, it's glaring. You have an 11-point second quarter last night, and crazy to think this is the team that started off 12-3. And they are a deep team. They do have the principles. They do have the defensive systems down. They have they have the infrastructure to be a good team. But when you're taking so many early and often threes, and you're kind of the catalyst of changing the game, and you still want to play that system with the different personnel, there's going to be some nights where it's going to be bad. And Buddy Hield started off the season fantastic, averaging damn near 20 points, and now he's kind of tinkered off. Dennis Schroeder kind of is the new addition who was one of the biggest trade assets on the block in Brooklyn. Now he's got there for 6-7 games. He's been pretty bad since he's been a Warrior. So I think they're trying to figure it out. They're trying to plug and play different guys, but this is going to happen when you're a team that shoots so many early and often threes. Most of the time they make some of them. So it looked like even Steph, like he makes a lot of these shots. So it doesn't look as bad, but then when you have droughts like this, where you're shooting 33% from 3, you get exposed a little bit, especially then when they're giving up a lot of points on the other end. It's a recipe for disaster.
All right. So then the follow-up question is obviously, do they, sounds like they don't have enough. So then what's the trade that needs to happen here, Chandler?
I don't know if there's a trade right now, right? Like, yeah, I mean, I think Kuminga, I think it's known that he's their guy, right? He's kind of the guy in play. And we talk about maximizing Steph Curry. I don't know what the move is. Is it getting off Andrew Wiggins somehow and bringing something in? But what can you get for him? Because like a Zach LaVine, a Jimmy Butler, do they even really move the needle and make them a contender right now this year? I think they make them better. And I think there is some pieces that they can move that are attractive to other teams to kind of get a guy in there and kind of make use of this year. But This is kind of who we thought they were, right? The Lakers, the Clippers are kind of a middle of the pack team that are dangerous. They're explosive. And anytime you have a Steph Curry on your team, you have a fighting chance to win in every game. But scouting reports are different. Everyone, especially with this roster, everything is tailored to stop Steph Curry. So he's even forced to take crazier shots. He's still moving without the ball so much, but other guys are having to step up. They're in different roles that they're not used to. They play through Kuminga half the time he's in the game. Like, that's different for him. There's going to be some adjustment periods for him where he's going to have some struggles, but I don't know. I don't know what's the move that can put them over the edge right now, because I don't really see anything out there that's going to make them a contender right away.
That does not sound good. Lou, do you have any thoughts on that? Is there something that you would add, subtract?
Yeah, I don't see anything immediately. I think they ride this season out
Okay.
and they go into the offseason and they try to regroup and rebuild around a Steph Curry-led basketball team and just get a bunch of guys around, some fresh new energy, some guys that want to be there that would love to assist him in trying to win another championship, before he rides off into the sunset. But I don't think it's anything that they do immediately.
Michelle, you know what?
What?
Good news is we got Mike Dunleavy Sr. coming up, whose son is the GM, so we can ask him.
Maybe he'll give us some secrets that no one knows about yet. Just give it all away. Well, that's the thing is, like, Steph was asked about the team afterwards. His quote was, let the kids say we're very mid right now. So, they're average that at best, I suppose, Chandler. And I guess that's what we're saying, is that the Warriors are just average at best.
They are. And again, I think they have pieces that are attractive. They have a good system in place. They have Steph Curry. Draymond is healthy and available, but you can see the frustration is mounting. There's been some hot takes, some hot mic clips where there's definitely some tempers are flaring there, but that goes for every team. This is a long season. There's going to be ups and downs. Like I said, this team's a team that started off 12-3, and they've now lost 13 of their last 17. So this is a rough patch for them. They are deep, so they do have a lot of different options where they can plug and play certain guys. They can afford to lose a guy for a game or two. But yeah, they're very average. You look at their statistics on every offensive and defensive category. They are a middle of the pack to bottom team. They don't do anything really elite. But again, when you have Steph Curry and you have this championship DNA and you have Steve Kerr and you have that depth where you can go 9, 10, 11 deep, they're going to win a lot of games. They're not a championship team this year.
Lou, Draymond said recently the message to the team that was sent was, we got to play better or we're all going to get traded. I have to believe there's one guy and one guy only, the little dude that's not tradable and everybody else is. So is it that serious?
Yeah, honestly, you hear these messages a lot of the times. This is a league where you either win or you find somewhere else to try to win. That's simple and plain. And with them winning championships, they've set a standard. They've set a level of excellence that they expect to reach year in and year out. And if they don't, they get new guys in there. They get new personnel in that gives them a better opportunity to do it. Draymond Green's been there his whole career. He understands the realities of this business. Once that flame dies out, it's time to move on and try to get another flame. Try to get something else that's going to be beneficial to you. Right now, they feel like they're not playing basketball to the level of expectations, and it's going to be time to make some moves around that. So I have no problem with Draymond saying this. Trust me, he's saying it out loud, and it's Draymond Green. But this is the sentiments of a lot of players and a lot of teams around the league every single year at the All-Star. Like, listen, if we don't tighten this up or we don't get going, some of our names are going to be in trade talk come February. And this is the norm. This is something that we see a lot. So Draymond Green saying it out loud, this is just the reality of the business and him putting it out there. He's holding guys accountable to play better basketball, or we all are available to be shipped. Nobody is immune to that.
And to me, this is Draymond. This is a form of leadership, right? He's going to own this. Just like he owned the hot mic with Buddy Hield, kind of jumping him a little bit during the game. This is what he does, and that is okay. And they probably need this right now. And it is true. I think everybody on that roster is tradable, except Steph Curry. And Bob Myers is no dummy, right? Like he knew when to get the hell out of here. He knew, and Mike Dunleavy is my guy. And that this is a tough job. Like he came into this situation with so many decisions to make, and so many decisions to make where like he's living it, and he's going to have some tough conversations. He's going to have to make some moves, and I think he's done a decent and a great job putting the pieces here, but when you look at the Western Conference, there's so many good teams that kind of made that big jump. There's 9, 10, 11 teams that are just as good as the Warriors. They're in a tough spot right now for the rest of the season.
By the way, is Draymond's tradable, right? Or does he think he's not tradable as well?
Yeah, I would
think so. Feels like he's included in that. Like I said,
Okay,
he's a very realistic pro. I love that. That's what I've loved about Draymond Green ever since he became this dynamic personality. Once they start winning championships, he's always been realistic with expectations and what's expected of them as a team. He's never bullshitted anybody about what they should do and the things that they should go out there and accomplish. And at this point, everything that they've been able to do as an organization, you can kind of see that they're going in the wrong direction as far as trying to compete for championships. And he's being very realistic. He even knew that there could be an opportunity for him to be traded last year, or in a slightly some talk a year before that, So this is just him being realistic, being honest with guys, and being the leader that he's always been for this team.
Well, Doug Christie did it, you guys. He prolonged the necessary win that a coach gets after the coach gets fired. Although he got to play a Mavs team with obviously no Luka, no Kyrie, no Klay, no Derek Lively. And De'Aaron Fox leads his team 110-100. It was an 18-point deficit that was overcome. De'Aaron Fox finished with 33. Sabonis finished with 17. First win for the big coach. He's already said that the Kings, quote, have enough. Which I find interesting, Lou, because technically you could probably make that argument that we've seen this team in a different year do something better. But do you agree that they have enough as constructed right now?
I do. I do. You have an all-star point guard. You got an all-star small forward. You have an all-star center. You got a six-man type player in Malik Monk. You have shooting in Kevin Huerter and some of the other young guys on his basketball team. You got a lot of really good pieces. He has his hands full in trying to right this ship and where they are right now in the season. But I do think this is a very talented basketball team. I think if they can get all on the same page and get behind him as a coach and everybody buys in, they may be recharged and give themselves a great opportunity to make a run for it, to get in the playoffs, whether it's going to be on the back end or a play-in situation. I think they have enough talent to do so, as far as, as far as the leadership goes. We'll see who Doug Christie is as a coach and how much they respect him as a coach, But if you look at right here at the standings, they're in the 12th place. They're in a bad spot. But if they can put a run together, who says what's going to happen? We're talking about the struggles of a Golden State team that they're having at 16-16, a Phoenix Suns team that's at 15-16 right in front of them. If they can put 3 or 4 games together, start stringing together some wins, I think they put themselves in a conversation where it can get interesting at the end of this year.
The problem is when you look at those standings, though, it's like outside of San Antonio, I think all those teams are just as good or better than them right now.
What is wrong with you? What are you talking about outside San Antonio?
I'm just saying they're kind of this building, developing team. When you look at the Clippers, the Lakers, the Suns, like those teams are just as good as the Sacramento Kings right now. So it's tough. Will you stop? Cut it out.
What are you talking about? Like San Antonio has put together some pretty interesting wins, including over that Phoenix team that you just gave credit to.
Yeah, and they are on the rise. I am just saying, as it stands right now, it's going to be how high can the Kings move up? All those teams ahead of them are pretty solid teams, and they have just as much as the Kings. So I do think that when you fire a coach, especially how they did it and Mike Brown, it's on the players now, right? So like it's what else can you say? What else can you do besides go out there, compete your ass off, and you have to win games? Because now what's the next move? You fire the GM, you trade a player, are you going to re-sign? Is Fox now finally going to get his max extension? Or are they going to, there's so many questions here, but it really comes down to those players and they're competing. And like Lou said, they do have enough. You look at their team: Murray, DeRozan, Sabonis, Fox, Monk, Lyles. Like they have enough, and I think that's where the frustration came from the ownership, where it's like mind-boggling. Like, how are we not winning games with this team? Like we should be in the thick of things more. So I think they have enough talent. I think they need to create a new identity with Doug Christie, and I think they're going to rally around them because, like I said, when you fire a coach like that, it's on the players. So that they have to compete. They have to play hard. They have to do that every single night because they're the next to go at this point.
No more excuses. None. All right, we got to take a quick break. When we come back, Mike Dunleavy Sr. joins the show. Whoa, nice background.
You must be in Cabo.
And joining us from what looked like a beautiful golf course somewhere to the south of us, Mike Dunleavy Sr. joins the show. 11 years in the league, 17 years as a coach, including Coach of the Year, 7 years as an exec. First of all, thank you for taking the time. You look like you're already out there ready to go. Is that what's about to happen?
I'm ready for sure.
He's going right to the pickleball court as soon as this interview's over.
Pickleball and golf. Who are
exactly
you guys
right.
these days? All right, we spent a lot of time talking about coaches this year. We got JJ as a first-time coach. We just got off a story of Doug Christie replacing a coach mid-season, all the weirdness that comes with that. You stepped into a coaching position after none other than Pat Riley. So I have to wonder, was that an awkward feeling, an exciting feeling? Like, what was that like?
Oh, it was a very exciting feeling. I had spent 3 years as an assistant with the Milwaukee Bucks, and then, right time, right place. I had kind of had 3 offers in the same year, for a head coaching job, and without question, the best idea is to take the most talent, which the Lakers I felt like had, and came into a situation where a little bit of change in style in the sense that. From the way I had coaching staffs and how I played, a lot more rotating defenses, half-court defenses, and something we had to work on through training camp and then to start the season. And crazy part about it was we started off, I think, like 0-4, and we're getting better in my mind. But after that game at home, I think it was like a 1-point loss to Phoenix. I came in and just talked to the players and said, okay, the media is going to come in loaded for bear, and they're going to look, try and create some controversy. And you know what? I mean, I'm the lightning rod for this. If we've been together 6 weeks, if you don't think I work my butt off and that I know what I'm talking about, then, you could bury me. I mean, but I see us really improving in the areas that I'm looking for improvement, and feel very confident about how good we're going to be. So right after that, the ball boy comes and says, hey, Coach, Dr. Buss would like to talk to you in his office. I said, okay. So I go down to his office, and Dr. Buss says to me, he goes, Mike, sit down. 6 weeks ago in training camp in Hawaii, we, after hiring you, we thought we were some of the smartest guys around. Do you know what we think now? I said, no, sir, I don't, but I think you're getting ready to tell me. He goes, we think we're some of the smartest people around, and I don't want you to change anything. And I said to him, Dr. Buss, I mean, there could be no finer words said to by an owner to a coach, but I was never changing. I've got this. I spent 3 years as an assistant, and I won't go into the name, but after my first year as an assistant, a former teammate of mine offered me the head coaching job of an NBA team. And I turned him down. He said, you're turning me down? I said, yeah, I mean, if you put a gun in my head, I think I can do it. But I like to sweep the floors and really look under everything. And if you like me now, you're going to like me a year from now or 2 years from now. And he says, well, how about coming on my staff? I said, well, are you going to tell the current head coach that he's keeping my seat warm for me? And he was like, no. I'm like, well, I can't do that. But, 2 more years later, I was ready for the Laker job. And that's kind of one of the things. If I had waited those 2 years, then I might have reverted back and said, hey, oh, my gosh, what did Pat do last year? Like, what could I do? Or, should I change it back to something they're comfortable with? And, it worked out very well for us. We lost in the finals that year to the Chicago Bulls. So, there's a lot to be said for, all the kind of things you guys have been talking about and what kind of a situation you walked into, and really the confidence that you have in your message and being able to, stick to your guns, I think, and basically really comes down to communication with your players and them understanding like why you're doing something, when you do it and why you're doing it. And always the other thing, because I was so fortunate as a player with the coaches that I played for, like I could go into a huddle and say, like, okay, I don't think we should do that. And you know, and they would agree with me at times, you know, and so like it was just that comfort zone. So I had that with, always told my players, hey, look, if you've got something, and I would always say, anybody have anything else on this? Or if I had a matchup and a player would come to me and says, Coach, I want to guard so-and-so. I would always give them that shot because, you know, it's really what you're believing in. If you think you can guard this guy, even though obviously maybe I didn't think so because of the matchup, I give the guy a go because I know he's putting himself on the line, and therefore I know I'm going to get maximum effort. And hey, we'll just see.
So you never had doubts. Like you look in that huddle, you see like the one name superstars of the league, and you're like, God, maybe I shouldn't tell him what to do.
Yeah, no, I mean, I felt like, hey, I'm the one studying my butt off. Like I'm the one that knows every play that comes out of the point guard's mouth or the coach's mouth. I mean, they don't have to study that. I mean, ours was in a numbering system where I could translate to them exactly what was going to happen at the defensive end of the floor. And I think that, I always felt like from an IQ standpoint, I would tell people, if you give me a play or a situation, if I don't have an answer in under 5 seconds, I'd shoot myself.
Jeez. Okay. So it's like JJ Redick. I feel like he's like this. Well done. Chandler, I know you're feeling something. Go.
You know what, Coach? I'm going to go rogue here. Like all the coaches, the hiring and firing now in the NBA. Do you think what is the reasoning for that? It's just a players' league now. Do you think teams just move like the Mike Brown thing? Do you think they move off too quickly? Is it when the team wins, the players get praised? When the team loses, the coaches get fired? Like, how do you how do you change that?
It's kind of always been that way in a sense. I think, look, from whatever period, like, when I was a rookie in, 76, 77, there are certain guys that, are bulletproof or G'd up or whatever your term is, for, hey, that dude's going nowhere. I'm going before that guy goes. But, in a lot of cases, depending how far you're into your tenure and how well you're doing, clearly that happens in our league. So it's got to be a situation where you manage it. And I think one of the very key things for a head coach is to, be on the same page with his team, especially his best players. Always keep them engaged. I won't go into a name here either, but I had a former teammate of mine who was a coach in the NBA, and I traded for a player that he had coached the year before, and we played them in a game and we beat them, and we're walking up the court together, and he says to me, he goes, I got to ask you one question. I said, sure. He goes, that guy, does he question everything you do? And I said, no, he doesn't, because every time I finish, I make him sign off on what I'm doing. I don't want to hear after the fact in the locker room, oh, that was coach's decision. Like, if you know that, you like say, hey, this is what we're doing. You good with that? If you're not, let's know it now. So it's, you have to be aware. And I was very fortunate. Most of the time, my star players were, and the best thing you could ever have as a coach and as a player teammate is when your best player is like your hardest working guy. Magic Johnson, as a rookie head coach with the Lakers, like Jerry Westwood, he'd get on me some. He said, Mike, dude, you had the game won. You didn't have to play Magic that extra 2 or 3 minutes. I said, Jerry, I don't have that game won. I'm a rookie. I got to bank wins. I'm waiting. Yeah, okay, but I'm going to give the guy off in practice. And I would say to Irvin, I said next morning, I said, Irvin, I played you 38 or 39 last night. Like, why don't you just go sit out? He looked me in the eye and he would say, Coach, if I sit out, then the rest of these guys think they got the day off too. I mean, and that's when I played, the last team I played for the Milwaukee Bucks started with Sidney Moncrief, Defensive Player of the Year. They're all the same guys. Magic, I played pickup with Magic in the off seasons. I mean, we could be playing for $2 or $2 million. I mean, he's going for the jugular. He wants to win every single game he plays. And, to me, when people talk about, I was, an executive in my time as a general, most of the time I was coach and general manager, but I picked 6 NBA All-Stars, a 6th man of the year in Eric Gordon, and Sean Livingston, who I think would have been an All-Star had he not, blown his knee out the way he did. And to me, the first thing I always look for is, I'm like, please tell me this guy's a gym rat. I just want somebody that loves to play the game, because once you have that, you can work around everything else.
Yeah. Coach, you brought up Magic in 1991 finals, MJ versus Magic. What do you remember most about that legendary series?
The worst part was James Worthy getting injured for us. We won game 1 on a Sam Perkins 3-pointer in Chicago. We felt really good about our chances there. And then James, because, obviously Hall of Famer, averages over 20 a game, but at 6'9", played with Michael at North Carolina, was not intimidated by him at all. And he was our guy to defend him. And so when James went out, then they were able to just rotate guys on Magic, pick him up full court, try to wear him down. That game, and we had a game at home, so 1-1 going back home. And last possession of the game, full court, to take a timeout. Phil never likes to advance the ball. I think they had like 8 seconds in a timeout. I circle a spot on the right side of the top of the key. I said, look, this is where Jordan's going to shoot the ball. And the first thing we tried to do, I said, look, don't let him get the first catch. Make them have to find him with a second catch for time. Unfortunately, he gets the first catch and then literally shoots it from that spot and probably centimeters over the fingertips of Vlade Divac to make the shot to kind of win the game, which, that was a little bit of a dagger. We're looking to, squeeze one out. Then we had a couple of other guys get injured, and we had a Tony Smith, who's a rookie that I saw when I was in Milwaukee. It's, played pickup with them all the time at Marquette. And we drafted him, and he stepped in. He did a great job, even like in Game 5 to keep us in the game to have a chance. But Michael's Michael. I mean, obviously, in my mind, the best player to ever play, and the most. I mean, other than Michael, and then maybe Kobe, the next. Like, as far as competitors, workers, I mean, both those guys, I don't know how they did it. I mean, 5 a.m. in the morning, they're up. They were, basically from a work ethic standpoint, they were at the top of the list.
Yeah, well.
Coach, I was going to ask you about MJ and his greatness. You spoke to how great he was. Did you see it at that time? And what was it like trying to game plan for him at that time early on in his career?
Well, first of all, I played against them, and unfortunately, you can't see my phone because I had this great shot. People ask me the same question. I said, "Let me show you the first time I ever met Michael," and it's a centerfold of him with the USA Olympic team, and it was a turnover. The ball gets thrown down to the left corner, and he's going from the left corner into the basket, and I'm at half court. I'm just hustling. I'm just going after the play. I'm like, no chance I'm getting this play, and all of a sudden, he goes up, and I'm going up, and I take a swing at the ball. And for people who watched him play a lot, he put the ball in front of his face, and then he would rock it to dunk it. Well, when the ball was right in front of his face, that's when I swung, and that's when he moved the ball. So I have my full hand going through his face, and I tried to catch him on the way down. He wanted to fight when he got, and I said, "Look, dude, I try to catch you. I get why you want to fight." And so that was our first meeting. And matter of fact, that playing down at the Grove 23, his golf course, and I was going up, ready to go up one. He's coming up 18, and he's coming up. I said, "Mike, dude, the guard at the gate, he wouldn't let me in." I said, "Michael Jordan's a friend of mine," and he said, "You don't know Michael Jordan." I showed Mike the picture. I said, "Mike," I told him, "Look, here's the first time I met the guy." And then he hit me in the head, and we went on. But the next time I played against him was game 2 of his career in Milwaukee. So, and I was starting, but at this time I spent the second quarter, and I'm on the bench. I'm sitting next to a guy named Kevin Greavy, and Mike gets a breakaway, and he takes off his foot straddles the free throw line, and he takes off. And I go to Greavy. That's his first mistake, and he just kept going, and he punched it. I think he had 22, 23 that game. We won. But then game 3, we go up to Chicago and play there. And I think we're up 14 going into the fourth quarter. And Sidney Moncrief, Defensive Player of the Year, is playing against Mike, defending him. And they go to a 1-4 flat in the fourth quarter, and he starts going to work. Well, I mean, he's putting numbers on Sid. So now I'm coming off the corner to double team him. I mean, he only goes for 23 in the fourth quarter to beat us by 1, I think, and he get a total of 37. At that point, I knew how good he was.
Jeez.
Jeez.
Coach, you also coached the Trailblazers from 97 to 2001. Rasheed Wallace, Damon Stoudemire, Rick Brunson, Isaiah Ryder, Jermaine O'Neal, Bonzi Wells. Like, that's an eclectic group there. What was that like?
Well, it started out more eclectic. I think if you remember, we were called the JAILBLAZERs.
That's right. That's right.
And I went in there and you know, we started out and Bob Whitson was our general manager. And I said to him, I said, look, Bob, you guys haven't been out of the first round of the playoffs in 5 years. And I said, you know what? Because I feel like you win with character. 82 games is a really long season. And so, you got to have guys, like I said, they're gym rats. They love to play. You know, it's not going to be a drudgery for them. When they get down, they stay down. I want guys that are always going to be fighting. Hey, look, we next play. Let's get next play. We play better. We improve. There's always something in front of us. And so I tell Bob, look, I'm going to get, at the risk of losing some games, I'm getting these guys numbers so that we can trade them. Just don't fall back in love with them when these numbers start popping up. And you know, ultimately we got that team that, you know, that with Steve Smith and Damon and the guys you described. You know, we had a great run. We had a tough one. You know, we lost we were down 3-1 to the Lakers, and in the Western Conference Finals took it back to a Game 7, and then we had a 14-point. Well, we might have had a 17-point lead then, but Brian Shore banks in a 3-pointer to, I think, at the end of the quarter, make it 14, and they beat us. And kind of what bothers me a little bit, guys would always come up to me and goes, "Oh man, those guys choked." I said, "Well, depends what your definition of choking is." I said, because for me, you know, choking is when, you know, you miss free throws, you turn the ball over, you know, succumb to pressure. In reality, our team, that game, one of the best games I've seen it a number of times. We had one turnover in the fourth quarter, and we had one missed defensive assignment. When Rasheed Wallace came back again, he missed a rotation out to a corner 3 by, I think it might have been Rick Fox. But the biggest part about it for me was we missed 13 straight shots. 11 of them were great, and 2 of them were good. One was by Scottie Pippen, like a 20-footer. You know, he was a good shooter, but not a great shooter. So okay. And like I said, one turnover, and the 2 big scores in that game for us were, I think Rasheed had 30 and Steve Smith had 28. Of the 13 shots, those guys missed 4 apiece. And so I said, you know, it was just one of those things where the ball didn't go after executing and getting great shots. The ball didn't go. And yeah, clearly it was disappointing. It would have been, I don't know, the greatest thing ever for you to be able to come back from 3-1 and, you know, with them having home court advantage, to come back and beat them in their building. But yeah, no, they were a good, fun group. You know, I mean, there's a lot said about, you know, Rasheed. I mean, he set the world record for technical fouls under my tenure. I think it was 41. And it was like, you know, I was always, you know, kind of on him in a sense, like, all right, dude, I can live with 1. Just don't get 2. You know, I mean, you just don't get thrown out of the game. You know, and he's got the famous, you know, people quote him all the time, "Ball don't lie." You know, that was his thing. I was like, you know, it wasn't me. I didn't foul him. I didn't do this. And the guy missed the free throw. Ball don't lie.
You got teed up for that before.
Yeah, matter of fact, he got teed up for stuff like I remember one. I won't even go into the refs' names, but walking at the end of a quarter, they teed him up for looking at him.
Yeah,
but just looking at. Wait, time out.
Ronnie.
He said, "Wait, you teed him up for what? What did he say to you?" He didn't say anything. Okay, he didn't say anything because he looked at you. Anyway,
I remember that Steve Smith like walked up to the ref and was like, "Dude, he didn't even say anything. He literally got a tech for looking at a referee."
Yeah,
Was it Joey Crawford?
It's how he looked at him, guys.
It wasn't Joey Crawford. It was the guy Ronnie.
I was gonna say Joey Crawford does that too. That's kind of amazing, by the way. At that point, I got to ask you, because your son Mike Dunleavy Jr. is obviously an executive with the Warriors. We want to know everything he's got planned. What trades he's looking at coming up.
He could trade for Schroeder.
Oh, yeah, great. Okay, good. He's keeping you up to date, I see. No, do Do you ever not talk basketball? Because I'd imagine, as Chandler has described his job right now, it's a very difficult job to be an executive with the Golden State Warriors, given the legacy and the empire that they've built. You've got Steph Curry for as long as you've got him. That window is what it is. So do you see them as having a window still open? Is it as challenging as it seems to be from the outside looking in, that job?
Yeah, I think it. Well, first of all, I mean, he loves the job. He's been in the organization, loves the organization. I mean, like, you know, when he was, you know, when the job was open and he was this, you know, I mean, he says to me, I'm like, what, are you out of your mind? And I'm thinking about this, and I'm like, thinking about what? I said, bottom line is, you have an owner. I mean, and this, again, this is my take. This is not his take. I judge him as in, okay, dude, you have an owner. I mean, people, and I was at press conferences and things where the press, I mean, I've heard Joe have to ask questions. Joe, are you going to, you know, have a lot of input into each one of these deals or this, that, or the other thing? And he's the owner of the team. He has the prerogative, you know, to be anything he wants. But I said to Mike, I said, you know, you have an owner who loves the game and is willing to spend whatever it takes. Oh my God. If you're going to be a general manager, just check that box off for me. You know, I mean, I had Donald Sterling, number one. And then, you know, then one of my other teams, the owner was a really nice man, but didn't want to spend money either. The two teams I had, obviously, that were willing to spend and accordingly we won, were Lakers and Trailblazers. And so, you know, it's like, that's the box you need to check. You're in a city that's a great city, you know, you have so much going for it, and, you know, you can get the job done. And I think that's the way he's looked at it. And I think that you're correct in saying, I mean, you know, their window of opportunity is as long as, you know, Steph is there doing what he's capable of doing. And, you know, and Draymond, you know, when you look at a guy, and the first thing that comes to mind is glue. You know, I mean, the stuff that Draymond doesn't necessarily even show up in some of the you know, the stats. I mean, his passing ability, his defensive ability, he might be, and I've been around a long time, he might be the greatest closeout guy of all time. He can switch pick and rolls to a small or cover a guy all the way out to the corner and block shots or get things done and not get beat as good as anybody. And I think, you know, their numbers, you know, everybody, and I was always a big numbers guy. I mean, way back when I played, and I don't know if you could ever find it. There's a Sport Magazine article, probably around 82-ish, where basically I coined the phrase true shooting percentage because that's how I got paid. I was with the Rockets, and, you know, back then you kind of negotiated some of your own deals, and I was asking for whatever I was asking. Joe said, you know, you're good and you shoot the ball pretty well, but not good enough to get paid that. I said, well, what would I have to shoot to get paid that? Oh, you'd have to shoot 52 from the field. And I said, okay, well, I'm like shooting 53 or 4. He's like, what are you talking about? I said, you know, take my 3-pointers, makes, divided by 2, add that to field goals made. That's my true shooting percentage is like 53 something. And at that point, I got paid. So
whoa!
I've always been a stat guy for sure, but I'm also I'm kind of an art guy too. I mean, you know, I love running into guys that I know exactly what they won coverage. That's what they're going to do. You know what? The stats say that on a pie pick and roll, I leave my center back to guard the rim. I fight over the top of the screen. I play behind the shooter's head, try not to let him get a 3 off, drive him into a mid-range shot. Okay, I get that for sure. But what happens when I have Sam Cassell, who's a 90% free throw shooter, and you let him walk into a layup at the free throw line? Everything is about points per possession. So, okay, maybe he's not 90, but he's probably at least 70, 75. That's 1.4, 1.5 points per possession. Like, please stay in that all night. I'm going to run it 20 times in a row, and we'll see what happens.
Wow. It's like some Rain Man stuff going on right now.
Right.
Chandler, do you guys play pickleball against each other, by the way?
We played
Chandler
yesterday.
and I, yes.
Yeah,
Okay.
we played yesterday.
Chandler's wife, Haley, and I, we lost to this dog yesterday, 11-9. I mean, I'm really disappointed. I think
They had a hell of a comeback. Well, Coach, I appreciate it, and I will see you up there in about 20 minutes.
Oh, yeah, we got
guys,
20
thank
minutes.
you. Thanks for having me.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming on.
This has been awesome. We'll be back with some 2024 stuff next.
Run it up, Run it back, run it up.
All right. Well, I mean, it is the last day of the calendar year 2024. So we figured we'd do some best ofs. And by the way, the whole year. So do with it what you must. We're going to start with Player of the Year. I don't know why you guys are smiling. Chandler, you're first.
You know exactly why we're smiling. To me, it's Jokic. The things he does, how good he was this summer in the Olympics, how the season he's having now, the numbers he's putting up again, just consistently, how good their team is with him, how bad they are without him. He's the best player in the world, and it's not even close. I feel like sometimes year to year there's a debate. It's Jokic, and it's not even close. He does everything. So to me, he's got to be the player of the year of 2024 because he is the best player on the planet.
All right, we got a Jokic up there. Lou?
I like that, Chandler. I can make a case for Jason Tatum with everything that he accomplished in this year, but I'm gonna go with Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. He's the one guy on this list that he's still trending up. You know, a lot of these guys, they found their groove, they found their niche in this league, and they're using it to the best of their abilities. You know, with Jokic, everything that he's able to do on the floor, I think he's pretty much settled into who he is as a player. I think Jason Tatum is still growing as a player as well, but I think Shai Gilgeous-Alexander has had one of the better years out of all of these guys, considering the things that they've been able to accomplish. And he's one of the few guys on this in the league that their team is getting better. They aren't getting worse, and that's on the back of him. So for me, it's going to be Shai Gilgeous-Alexander as the player of the year for me personally.
Okay. Now we've got Defensive Player of the Year. Obviously, Gobert won it for the last season, but we're also a few months into this current season of 2024. Who you got? Lou?
I got
Chandler?
Wemby. And I know Gobert's won it. I know he's won it a lot. I think he's going to win it the next 5 to 10 years, bearing his health. So I think
Love that.
he is that guy. The not only the statistics, I talked about this on a show before, but just the way he alters shots, the fear he puts in guys when they attack the basket. He alters and changes the game like I've honestly never seen before. So I know he hasn't won one yet, but give him 4 or 5 months and he'll have his first, no doubt.
Yep, I'm rolling with Chandler on this one. I won't even delay it. I think Wemby is the player of the year from the things that he's been able to accomplish to how he's been approaching it this year, the block shots, the way he alters shots, the way that he puts so much pressure on guys to change shots and the way that they go about it. I got Wemby as well for Defensive Player of the Year.
Look at that. Everybody's just leaning into the greatness. And I love that for us as a show. Viral moment of the year 2024. Good Lord. That's a tough one to think back on. Okay, Chandler. Ugh.
Me, Steph Curry at the end of that gold medal game in the Olympics, I get goosebumps just thinking about it. It was unbelievable. And it's one thing to night like the Sacramento Kings. When you night the rest of the world, it's got to be the most viral moment of the year. So USA gold medal, Steph Curry's closing performance was legendary.
Iconic. I think legendary is underselling it. It was iconic. That poster, that picture is going to be on a lot of kids. I don't even know if kids put pictures on the walls anymore, but if they do, that's going to be a picture that a lot of kids around the world, not only in the United States, have on their walls of Steph Curry fading away from 2 defenders shooting that basketball and putting the entire basketball world to sleep. By far the most iconic viral moment of the year.
Okay, both of you. I don't know. I had the Dwayne Wade statue reveal. For me was viral.
It was the funniest viral
for sure.
Yeah, when I think viral, I think that because it lives forever in our minds, just like Steph's does, but in a different way, which tells a lot about who we are as people on this show. Best single game performance of 2024. Dang. Okay, Chandler. It's a couple big ones.
Give me the Luka 73 points, just because I think it's the most points, right, that we saw last year, this calendar year. That was an insane game at the Hawks. Anytime someone put 70 plus points, I mean, Jesus, that was insane. So I got to go with that one. Or the Joel, I guess, gave Wemby 70. Sorry, Michelle.
whatever.
Yeah,
Wemby will have a
that's
better
what
career. I'm fine with it.
that's the one that I was gonna go with. I was gonna go with the Joel Embiid 70 against the Spurs. Nothing to do with the Spurs. Just remember at that time how much Joel Embiid was getting criticized, and then boom, he goes out there and throws a 70 ball on the Spurs. Incredible, incredible. One of the more memorable games that I've seen this year. I know, Bees, it sucks, but it is what it is.
But it doesn't suck because when it's all said and done, Wemby will have rings, and we will all look back on this.
It is crazy. The segment before, we're talking about he's the best defensive player ever, and now we're talking about how he got his ass busted.
I was going to say, you know, your defensive player of the year, it just wasn't his night.
You know what? That was like 6 months ago. He's a different human being now. Completely different man. We got quotes of the year, Joe Mazzulla quotes of the year specifically. You know you're doing it right when we have a whole category just for your quotes. Chandler, we've got a few to choose from. Good luck.
Good. By the way, I'm looking at these. I don't even think the one. Oh yeah, here it is.
I want to see if we're on the same page.
Are we gonna agree?
We're all gonna die, or was that the one you were thinking of?
That was not mine. On the presence of Prince William and Kate Middleton. Jesus,
no, that was a good one.
That's the one for me. That was like, come on, coach. Like,
this man said we're all gonna die, and none of you were invited to my funeral, anyways. That's pretty shocking. That's pretty shocking.
He said so much. By the way, the Prince William Kate Middleton one is really, really good. Actually,
it's not.
I do think the dying one. There are no fouls in a war. You either die or you don't. Like he's insane, but in a good way. I kind of
bring back fighting. Like the guy's nuts.
By the way, that doesn't even sound crazy anymore. Like that just sounds like
compared to the other stuff. Yeah.
Well, also we've had 2 pretty good fights in the last week, so clearly other people heard the quote and said, "Yes, let's do that." So I'm here for it. Bring more Joe Mazzulla quotes in the year 2025. All right, we're gonna take a. Are we taking a quick break? We're taking a quick break. We'll come back. Prop party. Little prop party for Cavs at Lakers. Little New Year's Eve game. Chandler, you're up first.
Give me Lakers money line. The Cavs were in Los Angeles last night after a big win. They were partying. Give me the Lakers money line and Anthony Davis over 25.5 points. Love those.
What did you say?
Pardon me?
You know what? Everything closes at 2 in LA. You can't party that hard.
That's not true, Michelle.
Hey, Michelle, Taylor, I like Cavs money line tonight. I don't know. I just feel good about it in the way that the game is going. I like Donovan Mitchell over 3.5 threes, cashing out.
I like that.
I'm getting it.
I think Cavs win 2, and then they party harder tonight. Garland over on the points. That's 20.5. Allen over on the rebounds, 9.5. Quick. T-Wolves Thunder. That's the NBA game tonight. Who wins it? Chandler first.
Give me the Thunder, but I like the Timberwolves covering.
T-Wolves. I'll make it interesting.
Thunder win. Guys, resolutions. I will text you mine.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. See y'all on Thursday.